Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdul Halim, NIM 19101252100067. My class 5A PGSD. My title research is the effect of online learning on student independence. Okay. For introduce, implementation of the learning from home or BDR program at elementary level during the pandemic COVID-19 is not without problem. One of them, students have not shown learning independence. Therefore, is necessary to conduct classroom action research to increase student learning independence. The application of online learning requires student independence. Student independence is an important factor because of the limited interaction between education and student or between teacher and student and interaction with fellow student. In this study was conducted to determine the role of teacher in increasing student learning independence. The method used is descriptive, qualitative with data collection, technique, questionnaire, observation, interview, and documentation. This research was conducted at elementary school in Samberpasi, location in Ermando District, Biak Numfor Regency. The results show that the teacher play an important role in fostering and forming an attitude of independence is the learning process because 60% of students often cheated, while 20% sometimes cheated and 0% did not. Therefore, teachers are required to play an important role both in determining the theme of learning so as to be able to build student independence to improve learning outcome better. Uh, Next, my method. Mm, Number one, collecting data by means of observation, interview, and documentation as the most strategic step in research because the main purpose of research is to ob- obtain data. Well, the data analysis technique use descriptive data to produce frequency table, both single table and cross table. Qualitative data where analysis deductive and inductive. Okay. Number two, data collection technique used this study are as follow one observation method and two test method. The instrument in this study was used to obtain data about study activity and learning outcome. The development of this instrument is as follow. Number one, observation sheet, and two, test sheet. Data analysis use for percentage for observation sheet and use the mean for test result. Number three, the technique of collection data on learning outcome use word test in the form of a questionnaire scale. Next, result and discussion. Okay. The learning scale the learning scale consists of three indicators for independence according to Steinberg and learning, namely A, emotional independence, namely aspect of independence that show change in the closeness of emotional relationship between individual, emotional relationship with student and teacher and their parents. B, behavioral anatomy, namely the ability to make the discussion with defending on other and do so with full responsibility. C, the field of independence, namely the ability to interpret a sheet of principles about right and wrong, about what is important and what is not important. According to Tohaha S9 20 and 6, the factor that influence independence can be divided into two factors, namely number one, internal factor and external factor. Matchbaum, Tarmidi, and Rambe 20, 20 and 10 state that the formation of independent in student is determined by two things. The first is social resource, namely adults who are in the student improvement, such as parents, coach, family member, and teacher. The second result is the opportunity to participate independent learning. Okay. Uh, the increase occurred in the average spell of studying independence from 76.4% to 80.5%, especially in the indicator of ini initiative and increase intrinsic learning motivation. Increase 2.53%, setting learning goals or target. Increase 14.13%, monitoring organization and control learning. Increase 10.50%, view difficult as challenge. Increase 10.86% until until and looked for source of relevant learning materials. Increase 6.52%, evaluated learning process and outcome. Increase 1.63%, and independence efficiency increase 5.43% in an additional. The first can type of studying with good learning independence criteria also increase 61.3% to 77% 0.4% and meet the target of 75% success. There's result from that there is an increase in student learning independence in learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, conclusion. Based on the result of the study, it can be concluded that the teacher play an important role coach and forming an attitude independence in the learning process because 60% of students often cheat, while 20% sometimes cheat and 0% do not cheat. This results in students not being able to independently in the learning process. The application of online learning requires students to be independent. Student independent is an important factor because of the limit interaction between education and student or between teacher and student and interaction with fellow student. The law's independence was emotional independence followed by felt independence and the behavioral independence factor cause law independence are study habits and less support technology. My thank you. Itu tadi presentasi dari saya. Saya ucapkan terima kasih dan wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.